I'm Dawn Milne from Ivy's Department of Communications and Public Affairs, and I'm pleased to be here with Ivy lecturer Kanina Blanchard to discuss leading in crises. Kanina, I understand you teach a new leadership course called Leaders Under Fire. Can you tell me about that?
Absolutely. You know, at an academic institution of the caliber of Ivy, the students are getting the very best education when it comes to how to do business and how to be in business. In the real world, when it comes to career growth and future prospects, it's not just about what you know. It's who you are, how you get things done. It's how you handle situations that becomes a real differentiator as people start to move up the corporate ladder. And that's what Leaders Under Fire really focuses on. It takes the time to have students at a very early age and very early in their careers start to learn the art of reflection, to start to look and focus on self-awareness, not just because it's a nice thing to do, but because, as I said, it really can be a differentiator, because leaders today, they're under microscopes. This is the world of YouTube. A reaction can go viral, and within a day or two, brand, reputation, careers can be on the line. One of the key things that a leader can do is take the time, learn about themselves, learn what scares them, what frightens them, what they're prepared to do, what they're not prepared to do. Because when an incident, when they come under fire, when something happens that they're not prepared for, you know, the unpredictable, sometimes the unconscionable, a media ambush, NGOs that decide to start a campaign against your company, perhaps activists that start boycotting your products. Those aren't situations that people are necessarily ready to handle in terms of having all their strategies. But if you have the comfort and the knowledge in yourself in terms of thinking about and planning for and investing time and energy in how you handle fear, crisis, shock, it will help you be better prepared to handle those situations that you're going to face as a leader.
And I understand you experienced some challenges in your career. Do you have any advice for leaders about dealing with challenges?
Well, I think it starts first and foremost in a certain amount of trust that as a leader, you're in the role you're in for a reason. You've been put in that role and you need to trust in yourself. I think one of the horrible things that can happen in a crisis, and I've seen it happen where shock can just shut people down. You have to start with that sense of confidence. And then I'd follow that up with the message that it's not a sign of weakness to say, I don't know how to handle something. In fact, in a lot of the literature and in a lot of training that people will receive, you'll see that arrogance and hubris, in fact, are not only the greatest weakness, but perhaps your greatest enemy in being able to handle a situation. By the time you're in leadership positions, I think the other thing hopefully you have done is build networks, build relationships based on trust. And you know, when you get into a situation, a crisis, if you know you don't know, make the phone call. Tap into the resources that you've built over the years. I think you really then need to, as a leader, figure out the context of the situation of what's happening. I mean, far too often when a crisis hits, you deal with the immediacy of a fire, a bomb, an activist, whatever that crisis is. But usually there's a lot behind it. And maybe you don't have the time to do that yourself, but get your resources, get people to help you understand that context. Because if you understand the big picture, you might be able to understand and deal with far more quickly what the real problem is, what's really behind the crisis that's come. A lot of people, if they haven't thought about it in advance, if they haven't soul searched, if they haven't turned the lens in on themselves first, a reaction can be, that's not my problem to handle. And you deflect. My HR person will handle that, or my PR person will handle that. And that might seem like the easy way out at the time, but if you really want to lead, you want to lead people, and you want to lead an organization, people are looking at you. So don't take that easy way out. Take a step back and know that part of leadership is facing the camera and being able to handle that stress. maybe not knowing all the answers, but being honest.
Is there anything leaders can do to prepare for crises?
I'd go back to a lot of the things that I've just talked about as a formula. What I'd like to share with you is a wonderful quote that I love from Abraham Lincoln. He said that nearly all men can stand adversity, but if you want to test a man's character, give him power. If you're a leader, you have to know that you're going to be tested. You're going to face adversity. Be prepared for that. Some of the things we've talked about that help you prepare: know yourself, build your networks. Don't be too arrogant to call in help when you need it. Don't be afraid to say, I don't know, and get support. Don't deflect. Don't push off to your HR department or your PR department the responsibility to stand in front of the camera or to stand in front of your customers or your audience. You will gain respect by playing the role you're there to play. But if you think about a crisis as an opportunity not to deal with just a problem, but recognizing that it's a test of character, I think that it's really important that you stand up for who you are and what you believe in. And at the end of the day, I think that's what leadership is really about.
Thank you very much, Kanina.
You're welcome.